right, so we're diving into UI/UX case studies today. We're taking a deep dive into this YouTube video by Rachel Howe. It's called How to Design Your UI/UX Case Study, to figure out just how to showcase your work in a way that helps you land your dream job.
Yeah, and it's really all about, presenting your design thinking and the value you bring rather than just like pretty visuals. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
hmm
She actually makes this point right at the beginning. She switched from Notion to Webflow to actually host her case studies.
Oh, that's a really subtle but smart move, I think, because, by using a platform like Webflow, which is so focused on user experience, it shows like she already understands good UX before you even start reading the case study.
Yeah.
It's kind of like a chef choosing to present their dish on this like beautifully crafted handmade pottery. It's like, it just adds this extra layer of thoughtfulness, like they're paying attention to detail.
Yeah, it's like that presentation matters. It's not just what you're presenting, it's how you present it.
Mhm.
So thinking about your own field, what would be like the equivalent of Webflow over Notion? How can you make sure that the way you present your work speaks volumes about your expertise?
Exactly. Now, she also talks about the number of case studies you should have. It can be really tempting to want to showcase every single project you've ever worked on, but Rachel emphasizes quality over quantity.
Yeah, she recommends like 2 or 3 really strong case studies.
Yeah, think of it like, curating a museum exhibition. You wouldn't like overcrowd the space with every single artifact you have in storage, right? You carefully pick the pieces that best represent your collection and like tell a story, you know? Same with your portfolio. Choose projects that highlight your range, your problem-solving skills, that unique design approach that you have.
And she really emphasizes tailoring those case studies to each specific job that you're applying to.
Absolutely, just like you would tailor your resume and your cover letter. For example, let's say you're applying for a job that emphasizes, I don't know, user research, right? You might want to highlight a case study where you played a key role in conducting user interviews or incorporating those insights into your designs. Or let's say the role needs a very specific design software. Make sure to feature a project that shows you know how to use it.
Yeah, it's like reorganizing your toolbox depending on what the task at hand is.
Yeah, precisely. And then she also dives into some common mistakes that she sees junior designers making. A big one is only showcasing the final, like polished designs without showing the process behind them.
It's like seeing the finished meal, but you don't get to know the recipe or the techniques that the chef used to create it.
Yeah, exactly. Recruiters want to see your design thinking like in action. They don't just want to see the end result. Like they want to understand how you approach the problem, how you thought through different solutions, and how you made those design decisions. Showing that process, I think, shows that you can problem solve, you can iterate, you can refine ideas, and that you are committed to user-centered design.
It's about like pulling back the curtain.
Yeah.
Let them see the magic happen.
Yes. Another mistake is not clearly stating the problem that you are trying to solve, with your design.
That's like starting a book in the middle of chapter 3. Like you're missing that crucial context to understand the story.
Right. Like you need to set the stage, you need to introduce the characters, establish that conflict before you can present your design as the solution. So, what were the user needs? What were the business goals? What were the challenges you faced? By being clear about the problem, you give a framework for understanding, the value and the impact of your design solutions.
Yeah. And speaking of impact, Rachel really emphasizes showcasing, like how your design made a difference, even if you don't have a ton of data from a launched product.
Yeah, that's where things get interesting, especially for those, early in their careers or working on projects that don't have, easily quantifiable metrics. Like, how do you show value without a chart full of numbers?
Right.
Well, think about like the qualitative data you might have. Like, did you do any user testing? Did you get any positive feedback? Did your design improve the experience in ways that, might not be measurable right away?
It's almost like highlighting those smaller victories.
Yeah.
And the thinking behind the decisions.
Exactly. Even if you can't say, my design increased conversions by 20%, you can still say, my design made the checkout process more intuitive, it's easier to use, and this led to a decrease in cart abandonment rates.
Yeah.
It's about framing your contributions in a way that highlights the positive impact, even if it's not in those hard numbers.
Okay, so now I'm actually really curious to hear how Rachel actually structures her own case studies to achieve all of this.
Let's dive into her process and see what we can learn.
All right, so she starts by documenting everything from the very beginning.
Mhm.
So capturing ideas, sketches, user research, any relevant assets Um, she uses Notion, but she points out, even something as simple as Apple Notes can work.
It's more about having that system for organizing your thoughts and your materials rather than a specific tool, right? Whether you're a
Mhm.
designer, a writer, a project manager, having that centralized hub for your work can really streamline your process and keep you on track.
Yeah, exactly. And then on her Webflow website, she has this really clear structure for her case studies.
Right. She starts with an overview to give you context and set the stage. And then she clearly states the problem she's trying to solve, outlining the needs, the goals, any challenges.
Uh-huh.
And she moves into her goals for the project. Like, what was she hoping to achieve with those design solutions?
Okay, so what was she hoping to get out of it?
Yeah. And that's crucial because it gives you a benchmark for success. It's like setting a destination for a road trip, right? You got to
Yeah.
know where you're going before you can plan the route. So by establishing those clear goals, you can show how your design decisions directly address the objectives.
Yeah, I see.
Now, then she dives into the impact her design had, and she really emphasizes using visuals here, especially data visualization.
Oh, interesting.
This is where you can really make your case study stand out. Instead of just stating facts and figures, bring them to life, with charts, graphs, all those visual aids. Data visualization makes it, easier to understand, more memorable. It adds that level of polish and, professionalism.
Yeah, and don't forget those before and after visuals to really show, the transformation.
Yes.
Yeah.
Those are so powerful for showing the value you brought. It's like showing a client, the drab, outdated website they had before you came along, and then bam, revealing the sleek, user-friendly site you created. The contrast highlights the impact of your skills. It makes the lasting impression.
Oh, for sure. Now, she also dedicates a section to walking through her design process from those early brainstorming sessions and rough sketches all the way to like wireframes, prototypes, and user testing.
It's like you're giving a behind-the-scenes tour of your design studio. By sharing that, you're not only showing your technical skills, but also your creative thinking, your problem solving, and your commitment to user-centered design.
Uh-huh. And she doesn't shy away from those, early messy sketches.
Mhm.
It's refreshing to see that even experienced designers, they start with imperfect ideas and then they just refine them through iterations and feedback.
Right. It's a great reminder that design is iterative. There's no such thing as perfect right away. So embracing the messiness of the early stages shows you're willing to experiment, take risks, learn from those mistakes. It makes the whole process feel more relatable, human, I think.
Yeah. And finally, she wraps up with those key takeaways, highlighting the lessons she learned, the insights she gained throughout the project.
It's a great way to demonstrate a growth mindset and a commitment to constantly learning. It adds a personal touch and helps the reader connect with you on a deeper level, I think.
Yeah. This has already been such an insightful deep dive.
Yeah.
It's clear that creating a compelling UI/UX case study, it's about so much more than just the final designs, right? It's about telling a story, demonstrating your process, and proving your impact.
Absolutely. It's about taking the reader on that journey that shows not only your technical skills, but your creativity, problem solving, and that passion for design.
So we've talked about showing your process and highlighting your impact, tailoring your case studies to specific jobs. What other insights does Rachel offer when it comes to presenting your work in the best way?
One thing she really stresses is clear and concise communication. You got to think like a recruiter might be skimming through dozens, hundreds of portfolios, right?
Yeah.
So you need to make sure that your case study is easy to navigate, visually appealing, it gets the point across quick and
So
effectively.
it's not just about the content, but how you present it.
Right. Exactly. Imagine you're giving a presentation to a whole room of people, right?
Uh-huh.
Would you use dense paragraphs, tiny font, cram every slide with information?
Probably not.
No, of course not. You'd use clear headings, bullet points, visuals, a nice layout, right?
Right.
Same thing with your case study.
So it's like designing an experience for the recruiter, making sure it's easy to understand your work and they see, how great you are.
Exactly. Now, something it might seem obvious but often overlooked is proofreading. Attention to detail. It's amazing how many people submit these case studies with typos, grammatical errors, inconsistencies.
Yeah, like showing up to a job interview with a wrinkled shirt, forgot to brush your hair, right? Small things, but they make a big difference.
It's like, if you're not paying attention to those small details in your portfolio, what's that say about your work? Might seem small, but it signals a lack of professionalism, care.
It's like you say your case study is a reflection of how you work, your commitment to quality.
Absolutely. Now, let's talk about something that can uh, trip up designers, especially early on, showcasing impact without the concrete metrics.
Right.
What if you're working on something that doesn't have easily quantifiable results? Or, you're in school, haven't had real world projects.
That's a great point. It can be really tough to show your value when you don't have those big numbers.
That's where thinking outside the box comes in. Say you're a student working on a project for like a fictional client, right?
Hmm.
You might not have the user data conversion rates, but you can still show your understanding of design principles.
Think so?
While you walk them through your design decisions, explain how they align with user needs, best practices. You can say, I chose a minimalist layout, clear typography to improve readability, accessibility for users with visual impairments, or I did user testing with 5 participants, incorporated their feedback to make the app easier to use.
So it's about highlighting your process, how you apply design principles, even without the hard data.
Exactly. And visuals help. Create user personas to show your target audience, your user flows to illustrate how they'd interact with the design.
It's like you're building a case for your choices, even without those numbers to back it up yet.
Right. You can also talk about your process to emphasize, your problem solving, ability to iterate based on feedback. Even if you didn't get feedback from actual users, you can still talk about how you'd approach testing, incorporate it into your design iterations, right?
It's showing you understand user-centered design, committed to creating those experiences that meet the user's needs.
Now, let's go back to tailoring those case studies to the specific job. We touched on it, but let's dig deeper. Think about your portfolio, the projects you've worked on. How can you reframe those projects to highlight the skills, the experience that are most relevant to the roles you're looking for?
It's like having a closet full of clothes, choosing the right outfit for the occasion.
Yeah, if it's a role about user research, you highlight a project where you did interviews, analyzed data, incorporated insights. Even think about the order of your case studies, right?
Interesting.
Put the one that highlights user research skills first, then the others showing your strength.
It's like creating a story with your portfolio,
Mm.
guiding the recruiter through your experience, highlighting what matters to them.
Exactly. And if it's a role that needs a specific software, feature a project that shows you're proficient with it. You can even include screenshots of your workflow or specific features you use, to get that design effect.
It's like you're saying, look, I know this software, I'm fluent in it.
Right. Don't just list it. Talk about how you used it to solve a design problem, achieve an outcome.
Show, don't tell, right?
Exactly. And remember, you don't have to include every single project. It's better to have a curated collection, your best work, showing your range, your skills, your unique approach.
It's like picking the highlights from a concert or a sporting event. You capture the best moments, leave them wanting more.
Now, let's talk about storytelling, something crucial for any case study. We've touched on it, but it's worth emphasizing. Your case study is not just a report. It's a chance to engage the reader, take them on a journey, make them feel something.
I love that idea of making the reader feel something, connecting with them on an emotional level, making your work stand out.
Think about the stories that grab you, right?
Yeah.
They have compelling characters, conflicts, resolutions. They make you laugh, they make you cry, they make you think. Your case study can do the same.
So how do you put that level of storytelling into a design case study?
Start with the user. Who are they? What are their needs, their goals? What are they struggling with? Once you understand that, you can frame your design challenge as a problem to solve, a story to tell.
So instead of just presenting solutions, you're presenting a journey, taking the reader through discovering and addressing those user needs.
Precisely. Use language that evokes emotion, creates connection. Instead of saying, I designed a new homepage, you say, I wanted to create a welcoming experience that made users feel at home the moment they landed on the site.
It's like painting a picture with words, inviting the reader into your design world.
Don't be afraid to put your personality into it. Let your passion show. Share your insights, your struggles, those aha moments.
Make it authentic human, not just facts and figures.
Remember, you're showcasing you, not just your skills. Let your personality come through. Let them get to know you through your work.
This has been a great deep dive into UI/UX case studies. It's clear it's so much more than just the designs, right? It's storytelling, it's strategy, demonstrating your value.
Absolutely. It's about crafting that narrative that captivates the reader, shows your design thinking, and leaves that lasting impression.
We've covered so much in this deep dive, from choosing the right platform to showcase your work to the importance of storytelling and showing your impact, even without all that hard data. It's really clear that making a compelling UI/UX case study, it's like its own art form.
Yeah, it really is. And like any art form, it takes practice, experimentation, and, putting yourself out there. But the rewards can be huge. A well-crafted case study can open doors to new opportunities, help you stand out from everyone else, and ultimately land you that dream job.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, what's like one final piece of advice you'd give to someone who's ready to start working on their own case study?
Remember this, your case study, it's a reflection of you as a designer. It's a chance to show your unique skills, your creative vision, and your passion for creating those meaningful experiences. So don't be afraid to experiment, break the mold, and tell your story in a way that's authentic and engaging.
That's such a good reminder. It's not just about following some formula. It's about putting your personality and your passion into your work and just letting it shine through.
And remember, the design community is full of resources and support. So don't be afraid to reach out to mentors, peers, online communities for feedback and guidance.
That's so important. Collaboration and feedback are essential for growth, especially in a field like design that's always changing.
Now, as you start working on your case study, keep in mind it's a process. You'll probably go through a lot of drafts, revise your approach, and refine your storytelling along the way.
Yeah,
So embrace that process, learn from the mistakes you make, and keep pushing yourself to create work that you're really proud of.
that's a great point. It's not about being perfect. It's about making progress and always trying to get better at what you do.
And remember, at the end of the day, a case study is just a snapshot of your work at a specific time. It doesn't define you as a designer. So don't put too much pressure on yourself. Just have fun with it and
Right.
enjoy the process of showcasing your creativity and your talent.
That's a perfect way to end this. I hope this deep dive has given our listener the knowledge and the inspiration to create case studies that truly showcase their brilliance. You know,
I hope so too. Remember, every designer has a story to tell, and a well-crafted case study is the best way to share that story with the world.
that's it for this episode of The Deep Dive. We'll be back next time with another exciting topic. Until then, keep those design gears turning and don't be afraid to dive deep into the world of design.
See you next time.